The year was 1982. The city of Chicago bustled with life, unaware of the impending darkness. On September 29th, that darkness arrived in the form of an unspeakable tragedy. 12-year-old Mary Kellerman died suddenly in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. The cause, extra-strength Tylenol capsules laced with potassium cyanide. This seemingly isolated incident would soon spiral into a nationwide crisis, forever changing the way we think about medicine and consumer safety. Later that same day, tragedy struck again. This time it was 27-year-old Adam Janus, a postal worker from Arlington Heights, who succumbed to the same sinister fate. He had taken Tylenol for a minor ailment, unaware of the deadly poison lurking within the seemingly harmless capsules. His family, shocked and grief-stricken, gathered to mourn their loss, but the nightmare was far from over. Adam's brother Stanley and sister-in-law Teresa also took Tylenol from the same bottle, hoping to alleviate their own grief-induced headaches. Tragically, they too fell victim to the poisoned capsules, dying within hours of each other. What began as a single, unexplained death had now become an unthinkable cluster of fatalities, all linked to a common household product. Fear and confusion gripped the Chicago area as authorities desperately searched for answers. The news of the death spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through the nation. How could a staple medication found in medicine cabinets across the country become a weapon of mass poisoning? The authorities had no immediate answers, and the public grappled with a terrifying new reality. The products they trusted could be deadly. The stage was set for a nationwide panic, and the race was on to find the person responsible for these heinous acts. As investigators delved into the deaths of Mary Kellerman and the Janus family, the body count continued to climb. Over the next few days, 3 more victims succumbed to the poisoned Tylenol capsules. Mary McFarland, 31, Paula Prince, 35, and new mother Mary Lynn Reiner, 27, all died after taking the tainted medication. Each death was a hammer blow to a city on edge, pushing it closer to the brink of hysteria. The seemingly random nature of the poisonings only amplified the terror. The victims came from different walks of life, lived in separate suburbs, and had no apparent connection to one another. The one common thread linking them all was the presence of extra-strength Tylenol capsules in their systems. This realization struck fear into the hearts of countless Americans who relied on the medication, making them question the safety of their own medicine cabinets. Adding to the growing sense of dread was the lack of a clear motive. The killer, if there was indeed a single perpetrator, remained a phantom. No ransom demands were made, no specific individuals or groups were targeted, and no coherent message could be discerned from the seemingly random acts of violence. The authorities, under immense pressure to solve the crimes and quell the mounting panic, found themselves grappling with a case unlike any they had seen before. The Tylenol murders weren't just a series of isolated homicides, they were an attack on the very fabric of American society. The trust that people placed in everyday products, in the companies that produced them, and in the systems designed to protect them, was irrevocably shattered. The investigation was no longer just about finding a killer. It was about restoring a sense of security and order to a nation reeling from the realization that even the most mundane aspects of life could be fraught with danger. As the death toll rose, panic gripped the nation. People emptied their medicine cabinets, discarding Tylenol and other over-the-counter medications in a desperate attempt to protect themselves and their loved ones. Store shelves, once stocked with the familiar red and white boxes, stood empty. The once trusted brand name, synonymous with pain relief, now evoked fear and suspicion. Johnson & Johnson, the manufacturer of Tylenol, found itself at the epicenter of the crisis. Faced with an unprecedented situation and a public on edge, the company took swift and decisive action. In a move that would later become a benchmark for crisis management, Johnson & Johnson issued a nationwide recall of all Tylenol products, pulling over 31 million bottles from store shelves at a cost of over $100 million. The recall, while a necessary step in protecting the public, sent shockwaves through the pharmaceutical industry. It highlighted the vulnerability of consumer products to tampering and forced manufacturers to confront the terrifying reality that their products could be used as weapons. The era of implicit trust between consumers and corporations had come to an abrupt end. The Tylenol poisonings marked a turning point in the way consumers viewed product safety. No longer could people assume that the medications they purchased were tamper-proof or that the companies producing them were immune to acts of malice or negligence. The incident served as a stark reminder that even in the most advanced and technologically developed nations, danger could lurk in the most unexpected places. The investigation into the Tylenol poisonings quickly became one of the largest and most complex in American history. Law enforcement agencies from across the country, including the FBI, joined forces with local authorities in a desperate race against time to identify the perpetrator and prevent further tragedies. The pressure to solve the case was immense, fueled by the public's fear and the knowledge that the killer remained at large. Investigators faced a daunting task. With no witnesses, no obvious motive, and a vast geographical area to cover, they had to rely on painstaking forensic analysis, meticulous examination of the Tylenol capsules, and countless interviews with potential leads. They scoured store shelves, examined manufacturing facilities, and followed up on every tip, no matter how insignificant it might seem. One of the first breakthroughs came when authorities discovered that the cyanide lacing the capsules had been introduced after the Tylenol had left the factory and been distributed to stores. This crucial finding shifted the focus of the investigation from potential manufacturing errors or sabotage to deliberate tampering by an individual or individuals with access to the product on store shelves. As the investigation progressed, authorities began to piece together a chilling profile of the perpetrator. The individual or individuals responsible for the poisonings possessed a working knowledge of chemistry, a chilling disregard for human life, and an unnerving ability to operate undetected. The question that haunted investigators and the public alike was, who would commit such a heinous act and why? In the unfolding saga, a new character steps into the spotlight, James William Lewis. His emergence marks a pivotal moment in the narrative, bringing with him a wave of questions and suspicions. James William Lewis, a man with a checkered past, was accused of sending a letter to Johnson & Johnson demanding $1 million to stop the poisonings. Despite the accusations, Lewis was never charged with the actual poisonings. Instead, he was convicted of extortion and served 13 years in prison. Who is he, and what role does he play in this intricate web of events? As we delve deeper, the answers begin to take shape, revealing a complex and intriguing figure at the heart of the mystery. The trial was a pivotal moment, bringing to light the depth of the issue. The courtroom was filled with tension as testimonies were heard from both the plaintiff and the defendant. The plaintiff, representing the victims' families, presented compelling evidence, while the defendant, the pharmaceutical company, defended their practices. When the verdict was finally delivered, it sent shockwaves through the industry. The company was found liable, leading to significant changes in regulations. The aftermath of the trial saw significant changes, but the scars it left behind would take years to heal. In the wake of the trial, consumer safety became a paramount concern. New regulations were swiftly implemented to prevent such incidents from happening again. Companies were held to higher standards, and consumers became more vigilant. The impact was profound, reshaping the landscape of consumer protection forever. Specific changes included the introduction of tamper-evident seals on over-the-counter medications, ensuring any interference would be immediately noticeable. Despite the trial and the changes that followed, the case remains open. Questions still linger, and many feel that justice was not fully served. Investigations continue, and new evidence occasionally comes to light. The quest for answers and accountability persists, keeping the case in the public eye. This case serves as a chilling reminder of the potential consequences of negligence. It underscores the importance of vigilance and accountability in every industry. As we move forward, it is crucial to remember the lessons learned and to strive for a safer, more responsible future.